Hey guys, so why barefoot? Why Barefoot Didgeridoos? Why is it the name that I've chosen for this brand? And more importantly, why do I go around in bare feet? So at the time I'm recording this, we're in July 2020. We're still in the middle of the lockdown for the coronavirus crisis, and I would say that since that lockdown started throughout the spring and the summer of this year, I've been barefoot probably 95% of the time, maybe more. Okay, and so yeah, we go out for walks. I go out to collect my sticks, like we did done it today. Got a nice stick today, and whenever I'm out in nature, whenever I'm in contact with the earth, that I like to be in bare feet. And there are a few reasons for that, and I think one of them is just kind of basic, kind of aesthetic urge, which I'm sure most people will understand, that being barefoot just somehow feels more connected to the earth, more connected to nature and everything around us. I think the Aboriginal people who created this and have been working with this instrument for thousands of years will always have been barefoot until very recently, so they're in contact with the earth. I'd like to be in contact with the earth, but there are also some very some other very good reasons, and one of them is it's actually quite an addictive thing. When you go around barefoot, particularly in nature, particularly in the woods or on the beach or whatever, you are so much more connected. Because there's definitely a feeling of that you get so much more from your interaction with the earth, right? So when you're in boots or shoes or sandals or whatever, then every step is more or less the same. It goes up or down. That's more or less it. When you're in bare feet, you feel the texture of the ground, you feel the temperature of it, you feel the moisture content. Is it dry? Is it moist? Is it soft? Is it hard? Is it rough? It is qualitatively far more you just get that much more information, so you are really intimately connected, and I genuinely believe that walking barefoot, running barefoot as well, has to be better for our physiology, because we evolved for tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of years, right, from millions of years, before we became humans. Like we went naked and barefoot, and then humans have devised ways of we fashioned clothes from animal hides and stuff like that, and we have fashioned foot protection, footwear, particularly as we moved away from the equator to more places where it got colder in the summer and the winter. But for the majority of the time, until very, very recently, any footwear that we'd have made would have been made from relatively thin leather, okay, or animal hides or similar. We didn't have big rubber Dr. Martens boots, okay, or big sturdy walking boots, any of that stuff. So you actually walk in a very different way when you're barefoot as well, and it would be very much the same if you just had kind of leather slippers on your feet. So what people have noticed is that, like in medieval paintings, medieval drawings, that when you see people walking, they would walk as though they're pointing their toes. They have this kind of one foot pointing gaily forwards. And what's interesting is that when you walk barefoot, you have a different gait. You actually walk in a different style. So you don't go heel down, heavy on the ground, and then rock forwards like you would in boots. Instead, what you do is you put the ball of your foot down just before. Okay, so you feel the ground, because you need to feel whether it's whether there's a sharp rock there or something like that, right? So it changes the way that you walk, and the way I think about it is that if most of our evolution we've walked that way or we've run that way, then surely that's what's going to be best for us health-wise, in terms of posture and digestion and everything else. Another thing is that, we know that, for example, in traditional Chinese medicine, there are pressure points all over the sole of the foot that correspond to the organs and different parts of the body. And why should that be? Why should the nerves that end in your foot, why should they have any influence over what goes on in the rest of your body? And I can't answer that for sure, but one thing I do know, and this is why I say it's kind of addictive, that when you are when you're walking around, it feels like your feet are being massaged all the time, right? It's pleasant when you walk on some moss or stuff like that. But even here, when I'm walking on stones, like these, my feet are being stimulated. The soles of my feet are being stimulated, and I'm guessing that can only be good for for my physical health generally. And that's more or less it. There's one other really major thing. If you've ever come across the the science of earthing or grounding, then what that basically says is that human beings on the whole, for whatever reasons, the stimulus that we get from diet, from whatever, most people or everybody tends to be slightly low in electrical charge, in electrons. All right, so you've got slight positive charge in your body, and that actually makes it harder for your cells to function properly and to create the energy that you need and to repair and stuff like that. And the idea is that by grounding, as in the planet Earth has a surplus of electrons, because electrons can't be destroyed, right? It's the law of conservation of energy. Electrons, there's the same amount of electrons around now pretty much than there always have been. So if we tend to be slightly positive charge, as in we're a bit low on electrons, the Earth is actually slightly has spare electrons, and when you're in contact with the Earth, then you can soak some of that extra electrical energy into your body, and helps to keep you balanced. If you want to know more about this, I think there's a really good movie. It's on YouTube. It's called Earthing, the documentary, something like that. Really, really interesting. And people have used this to help them heal a wide range of issues. Okay, so yeah, those are all the reasons why I like to go barefoot. I can't imagine going back to wearing shoes or boots the whole time. It just feels right for me, and that's why it's called Barefoot Didgeridoos.